This morning is a morning of good news, and there is not too many these kind of mornings in today's Europe. So that's why it's very nice to be here. So we are going to hear presentations of best practices or good concrete examples created by the European companies, and also together with the public sector, either with local authorities or other authorities. So these examples are more powerful speeches than the one I'm giving to you now. So that's why I was thinking how the work the companies here have already done could be linked to the EU's policies or EU's targets. And our intention is not to interfere to the processes which are already ongoing, but of course there are few elements in which the EU could create some added value to our stakeholders. First thing is awareness raising. We were just, before we started this event, we were just talking about the possible opportunities to combine Commission events together with the work done here in order to raise awareness amongst these mayors or regional leaders, for instance. The second thing what EU can do is to provide technical advisory services or technical assistance to those who are interested into to tailor-made existing or modified ways to reduce energy consumption in the local environment. So we have lots of the Commission and EIB has a lot of technical advisory services already around, so we can use those. And third, if there is a need for regulatory changes, of course, we are more than willing to hear your examples or advices what the Commission should do in order to incentivize or make it more possible to do those projects in order to reduce energy consumption. And finally, in some particular cases, we could use EU financial tools, EFSI or EIB's ordinary financing or structural funds, etc. So those are basically the four elements which came up to my mind, but the main issue is awareness raising, and for this reason this event is very, very important. We will present energy efficiency package later this year. There's not reasons to be worried about, but we just want to bundle together a series of proposals, and that's why we needed a little bit more time to prepare. But ladies and gentlemen, investment in energy efficiency is one of the most cost-effective ways to support the transition to low carbon and sometimes circular economy. It brings multiple benefits for European companies, but also, perhaps most importantly these days, for the European citizens. Energy efficiency creates local business opportunities and jobs, this is clear, especially in the construction sector. Today, around 1 million people are already employed in jobs relating to supply of energy efficiency goods and services. This number is expected to increase significantly in the near future. The energy efficiency market has a high growth potential. Energy efficiency investments help European companies improve their competitiveness on the world stage. The good news is that EU industry responded to these trends by becoming more energy efficient. Over the last decade, it lowered its energy intensity twice as fast as its American competitors. The energy efficiency creates export opportunities too. As demonstrated in new publication, the EU is well positioned to embrace the business opportunities and deliver innovation by bringing forward more energy efficient technologies, appliances, buildings, services and business models. For instance, EU companies in the green and sustainable building sector are particularly dynamic, with a threefold increase of related patents over a decade. This covers solutions such as building automation systems or highly energy efficient heating and cooling technologies. The digitalization of the energy system, spanning from the greater integration of renewables via smart grids to the digitalization of the building sector, is a particularly promising area. New business models are expected to develop with package offers combining the provision of both goods and services in ever more hybrid forms. Europe, with its sizable single market and strong tradition in manufacturing state-of-the-art products, is the perfect breeding ground for innovative companies to benefit from the first mover advantage in this new hyper-connected interoperable economy. But energy efficiency is not only good for businesses, it's a great opportunity to bring the EU closer to the citizens, helping them to cut their energy bills and reduce social inequalities. It contributes to cutting air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, and thus to improving health. Last but not least, energy efficiency reduces the need for imported hydrocarbons, improving security of energy supply and keeping billions of euros in the EU that can be further invested. For every 1% improvement in energy efficiency, EU gas imports fall by 2.6%. For all these reasons, energy efficiency is at the heart of the Energy Union strategy. We have already put in place in Europe one of the world's leading energy efficiency frameworks, succeeding in reduction energy consumption in all sectors. Driven by ambitious policy implemented at local, regional, national and EU level, EU energy consumption has decoupled from economic activity since 2006. The economic crisis has only contributed to this decoupling for about a third. As a result, the EU is well on track to achieve its 2020 targets of 20% energy savings. EU ASE, or how do you call it? EU ASE? EU's publication presents examples how European citizens, businesses and public sector have benefited from this successful policy implementation and reduced energy consumption. However, this positive trend must be stepped up. Our aim is to review this year the key EU energy efficiency legislation to make the vision of the Energy Union and our 2030 targets a reality. We started our work in summer 2015 with a proposal for revised rules on energy labeling. We hope that the European Parliament and the Council will now conclude quickly on this revised framework to ensure that labels remain relevant for consumers and to strengthen market surveillance by member states. We are now continuing this work with the development of the next package of legal proposals in the context of the Energy Union, which we plan to present before the end of the year. This package will set a coherent framework for our engagement until 2030. We will present a set of legislative measures aimed at improving the regulatory framework and at making it coherent with 2030 objectives, and link them with the financing and investment framework, which is a key engine of economic activity. Then I would like to go to the investment plan for Europe. Energy efficiency is a capital intensive area many times. It requires upfront investment in the form of savings from households, equity from businesses, or debt financing from lending institutions in order to benefit from reduced energy bills in the future. However, many project promoters willing to invest in energy efficiency still encounter difficulties in accessing or raising this capital. This is partly explained by a lack of adequate and affordable commercial financing for energy efficiency investments on the market. This is not always the case, but sometimes. Most financiers and investors do not yet consider energy efficiency as a specific market segment offering clear incentives and new business opportunities. There is a general lack of understanding of the real risks and multiple benefits of energy efficiency projects by financiers. Other reasons are the lack of awareness about existing energy efficiency solutions and the business case by project promoters, and the lack of skills, experience and knowledge in developing bankable projects. I often meet local politicians and investors who tell me that they do not have the human resources to develop a good project, apply for funding and follow through with it. To address these barriers, the Commission has proposed the investment plan for Europe based on the European Fund for Strategic Investment. Up till now, the EIB group has approved EFSI projects for total investment value of more than 138 billion euros. This means that we are on track for achieving the original objective to mobilize 315 billion euros of new investments over 3 years time by mid-2018. A significant share of that sum, at least 30 billion euros, will be directed towards energy projects, including some energy efficiency investments, especially in the building sector, with a total investment value of about 4 billion euros. The overall result for the energy sector are positive. However, we should not rest on our laurels. More needs to be done, especially for those member states with less developed financial markets, but with great opportunities for blending EFSI with structural funds, which represents 18 billion euros in the area of energy efficiency for the period 2014 and 2020. Do we have, by the way, one slide?
Yes.
I will explain you one existing project which could be copied in the other countries and other regions too, exactly this one. The reason why I'm raising this as an example is that this particular project has got EFSI financing. So this is an energy positive project in Ile-de-France. The only thing I want to explain here is the model. So Energy Positive is a public-private partnership company which has been capitalized by Ile-de-France, Private Bank, Mairie de Paris and National Promotional Bank, Caisse Deposit. It's collecting together 40,000, or its aim is to collect together 40,000 houses or homes or flats for retrofitting them to save energy. And EFSI's role here is to provide long maturity, very reasonable priced loans to house owners or the homeowners. So at the end of the day, the same people who enjoy considerably lower energy bills pay the loan back. Mm-hmm. So I do wish that this project will fly and show the examples to the others, but it's the same model or refined, modified model can be used everywhere else too. And if there is a need for EFSI financing, just be in contact to EIB. In this particular case, they said that the private sector, private banks could not provide financing to house owners for the same terms. So that was the reason why EFSI made this happen, or partially made this happen. Also, the same model could be modified in some countries so that structural funds could be used partially as an equity in this PPP construction. Also, EFSI can provide equity. So if talking about the opportunities in cohesion countries, for instance, they could use part of the structural funds as an equity there. EFSI can provide also equity, private sector could provide equity. And I am telling this because local authorities and national authorities many times say that they cannot afford to do things like that. But you don't need to use your budgetary money necessarily if you can collect the equity base from other way. So EFSI, structural funds, maybe some private companies can provide equity. And then again, EIB/EFSI can provide those loans. So there's a huge opportunities out there, and this is just one of the examples how EFSI can be used for energy efficiency projects. EFSI is very, very flexible tool. So if you ever find it too difficult to raise funds from the market, you could probably contact directly EIB on this. One final thing is that neither me or anyone else in the Commission select the project, so no need to present the project to me. Or actually, please do, because I want to show. I want to hear of good exercise, good examples. But EIB is the only phone number you have to know if you want to apply resources. So you probably have heard that we will extend EFSI and double the firepower of it. It will basically mean that whereas the original EFSI allowed EIB finance higher risk projects worth 63 billion in 3 years' time, if Parliament and Council accepts our proposal, this 63 will raise up to 100 billion in 5 years' time. So by the end of 2020, the EIB's firepower in this particular high-risk project sector would be 100 billion. And we expect this to trigger additional investment worth 500 billion. Also, Commission now proposed that at least 40% of projects in EFSI infrastructure and innovation window should contribute to climate action in line with COP21. So energy efficiency plays a role here too. We will also upgrade our advisory services, which basically means that Commission technical advisory services together with EIB will be more on the ground. Basically there will be more manpower on the ground because EIB has many offices in many capitals. They will set up new offices and upgrade them in order to make it possible to learn from the good examples and also to combine EFSI structural funds, because sometimes it may be a little bit problematic. Also, one thing I want to mention here is probably the least known part of the investment plan, which is European Investment Project Portal. It's been up and running for half a year now. There are some 200 projects from various countries, and it's basically easy to understand if you picture it in your mind that it's a online dating service for investors and project promoters. So it basically means that if let's say City of Porto is planning to invest in energy efficiency projects and they have a good model but they need some investor, they can send a project to the Commission. We just check that it's legal and then we raise it to the portal, and it will keep a global visibility. I was surprised that even the portal has been up and running had been up and running only for a few months. Institutional investors and investment fund managers in Japan, South Korea and Hong Kong already knew it. They say that they regularly visit the website because it's the only way or the easiest way for them to find good projects from all over Europe. Also, interesting detail is that if you count a number of clicks or visits to project fishes, the Greek projects have been the most visited one. And that's very, very good. Those are private investors who are looking at hydropower investment opportunities, some other energy-related projects. So if you ever find it reasonable, you can send your project to the portal, or then if you are looking at good places to invest, just visit the website EIPP, European Investment Project Portal. ladies and gentlemen, this year could be a good year in a sense that we could easily strengthen awareness and willing to invest in energy efficiency. And it's there's nothing negative in this investment side. There's a huge demand. There's it goes directly to the business level. It goes directly to the citizens level, and it will create lots of jobs. It will strengthen our competitiveness in global competition, and there is the political momentum is also there. And that's why I think, even though the Commission doesn't do everything, but our energy efficiency package can even reinforce the political momentum in a sense that it sets long-term regulatory perspective to investors and other stakeholders. So the more EU aids can do in order to raise awareness of good practices, the easier it is to implement them. So thank you very much, and I'm open for your questions. Thank you.